on a universal, how does that work for all black people? Say you have a black Christian
Yeah.
that's enlightened,
Yeah.
that wants to get over that trauma.
Yeah.
How can they
Oh,
heal
okay.
themselves?
Look at the word that you say, a black Christian. Okay? The only word that's powerful in that, to me, is black. Okay? Because you got to remember, who gave the Christian in America the Bible? The slave master. And the slave master interpreted the Bible the way that he wanted to. This is one of the worst verses, and I'm paraphrasing, in the Bible. Slave, obey your master.
Mm-hmm.
If he smacks upon thy cheek, turn the other cheek from him. That's not an intelligent proposition. For a slave, number one, to obey your master. The Lord's supposed to be the slave master, not no slave master on the plantation. So that's a, dichotomy right there. Which one is the real master? The one who gives the instructions on righteousness, or the one who got you subjugated to oppression? So the slave is effed up right there. Who he gonna obey? He got a book telling him that these are words from the Lord, the God, or whatever, Christian, and he got the book from the slave master who got him enslaved. Now, that's a real confused proposition for a thinking man. But if you ain't thinking, then you ain't gonna be, concerned with that, because that ignorance is gonna be what? Bliss, as they say. But ignorance is never bliss. How could an ignorant man be happy? There's no such thing as a happy slave. You enslaved, and what a slave is in bondage. And if you're in bondage, you want what? Freedom. And there's no justice in bondage. There's no peace in bondage. There's no happiness in bondage. You want to be free. Everybody that's sensible, everybody that's wise or intelligent, want to be free. But at any rate, Christian, in America that is,
Yes.
there may be other Christians that crystallized the thought that was given by Jesus the Christ and such of Nazareth and all of that. That's a different story. Jesus' teaching was some righteous teaching. And he didn't teach Christianity. He taught freedom, justice, and equality. And if freedom, justice, and equality that he taught is in the book in terms of free the enslaved, mentally and physically, feed the hungry, right, mentally and physically, clothe the naked, mentally and physically, shelter the homeless, mentally and physically. Those are universal principles that we can live with. And that's attributed to our righteous brother, and that's freedom, justice, and equality. Beautiful. Okay? But the proposition for a slave to obey his master, what master is the slave going to obey? The one who got him enslaved, or is he going to obey the master that want to give him freedom from righteous teachings? Nat Turner, he used the Bible, and he seen visions in the Bible of the children of Israel that was in bondage fought to be free. And they went about the business of murdering the oppressor who had them enslaved. And mind you now, Nat Turner was a preacher. A preacher taught or given the Bible by the slave master, his slave master, Mr. Turner. Mm-hmm. And he read, and when he learned to read, although it was outlawed in certain counties or certain places for blacks to read, Nat read, and his so-called master let him read, and he read these serious passages. And he waited for a sign from heaven to act, to free himself and his people. And he organized. He didn't just do it haphazardly. He organized covertly from reading the Bible, the passages that set a man free. He didn't read the passages or cared about the passages that enslaved him to a slave master. He read the passages that set him free. So in that instance, he was a free Christian who read the Bible, okay? And he used it to his end for freedom. So that was, You don't have to justify it. You could just say that helped him, that freed him. And he was a good Christian, black Christian. But he didn't go for the okie doke. After he read that, he read, let my people go, freedom from bondage. And he acted upon it. But these so-called American Negroes, they like happy slaves. And remember I mentioned cognitive dissonance, that even though the truth come to them and it become evident that it is the truth, and contrary to their core beliefs, they still reject the truth after hearing it and seeing it for themselves from the evidence presented to them. They'll reject that and continue to follow their own oppressor blindly. That's why we don't accept anything on face value. We don't go for blind faith. And the so-called American Negro Christian accept blind faith. They're not examining nothing. They take everything off face value. So they're easily led in the wrong direction. And very hard to lead them in the right direction. So much so that they'll fight against you for their oppressor. Yeah, and you got to draw the line. That the oppressor used them for a tool and a slave. And if they being used as a tool and a slave after hearing the truth, then they is with the oppressor and no longer with you. Are they people?
Another discussion we had when we talked about mental health, well, we were talking about you and your life, and that you've been in some really tough, hard situations.
Yes.
And I noticed how well adjusted you are. You seem pretty much unfazed by some of the situations you've been in.